Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Fastballs Sports Network WWE podcast. And Mark, today we have a fun almost year-ending episode where we're going to be giving out our own personalized Slammy Awards. How do you feel about that?
It'd be a good time. It was a weird year for sure, but there were a couple of stars that really rose to the occasion under our tough year. So no, I'm excited.
All right. But before we do get into our Slammy Awards, we have two bits of business that we have to take care of. The first one is a new segment that we're going to have on this show, and that is up until the Royal Rumble, I just want you, and I will also say, who do we think is going to win the Royal Rumble every time? And I just want to see if our answers change over the weeks to come. Because I think right now, there is a lot of people that could potentially win, right? We're in that phase where it's very exciting. Yep. And I honestly hope that we keep it in that phase. Like, I don't want our last prediction show before the Royal Rumble to be, well, we know Goldberg's winning now. Like something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, right now, I think we can probably think of like 9 possible people.
Mm-hmm.
We usually go in and it's like 2 or 3. Like at the very end, it's like, all right, one of these 3 guys are going to win.
Like last year, we knew it was going to either be McIntyre or Brock or Kevin Owens, I believe was one of the names that was being thrown around.
Roman too, always.
Roman was a possibility, I believe. Yes, Roman was a possibility. Kevin Owens was rumored to face The Fiend at WrestleMania, so I remember him being a possibility back then. But yeah, usually you're right. Usually there's like 3 names by the end of it. But right now, I don't see why there's not 10 names that I can think of it. I think there's 2 guys off the top of my head that I really want that I think could get it. But I'm going to actually give you time to think because I just threw this on you. So I'll let you really think about your answer. Right. I'll go first.
You go first.
I am going to throw, because like I said, because we can have fun with it now because we're a little farther away, I'm going to say Adam Cole. I'm going to say Undisputed Era, all 4 members get into the Royal Rumble, and Adam Cole winds up winning with the help of the UE, and this could cement Adam Cole. He goes on to WrestleMania on Raw, doesn't have to be anywhere near Roman Reigns, becomes the new face of the franchise, which I think Raw really needs. He could be a babyface, he could be a heel, they could book it, the way they want to, but ultimately, I think that would be a really, really strong pick for the WWE if they are willing to do it. And we're going to talk about War Games in a second because I know you really enjoyed that match. I think that was a perfect ending for them on NXT. Yeah. I can't think of a better way for them to go out. They didn't need the titles to go out. They went out on top of their match, the War Games match. But I'll let you go, and then we'll talk more about War Games.
Yeah, I think Adam Cole's a really good pick. I asked myself after that match, like, what's next for them? Like, where do they go from here? Because it's been a while now that Cole's been rumored to go up. Like, what more can he really do in NXT? And they won the match. I thought Pat McAfee's team was going to win just because, I don't know, it just felt like they kind of put him over on the way. Maybe they're not leaving. Maybe they're staying in NXT. It's so hard to predict. Do you want, I know you said your scenario would be all 4 of them. Do you want all 4 of them together or just?
I want him 100%.
Of course.
I think that they're just very powerful as a group. And I think that we saw the full effect of the group because as a group, they almost make him look stronger, which for a lot of people, like a lot of like groups, like that doesn't necessarily happen. But I think for him, like when he entered the cage there, when he was the last member in, it was like, oh God, Adam Cole is here. Like he is coming. But like, the other 3 are amazing, like nothing away from Fish, O'Reilly, and Strong. Like they are great wrestlers. This was a total hit group. And if this happened on the main roster, these guys would be the biggest superstars in wrestling. Like Cole is already one of those guys, like where you just kind of think like, all right, like it's only a matter of time. And then this guy is going to be a stud, like an actual superstar. But if they did the UE stuff on the main brand and they got the time to do it, like they got the time to do it in NXT. Yeah. I mean, so I'm with it, and without it, it's still fine. But I think I would lean towards the whole group.
All right, I'm between 2 people. I always pick Kevin Owens, and he never wins, and they don't really seem to care about him. Like they care about him. He's on a feud with Roman, but like he just never takes that step. They never like ever since like the Chris Jericho Universal title stuff. He hasn't really been relevant in the main picture since. I'm gonna take Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan. He said this is his last run. I feel like he's a guy that you want to give a Royal Rumble to, like that you want him to have that accolade. And I could see him beating Roman at WrestleMania. I could see that being the culmination of like his story of Roman's like big table eats, big dog eats at the table, whatever the hell he does. Like I can see this being like the end of the story if they can't get Rock or whatever. But I can see Daniel Bryan eventually winning.
Yeah, no, I like that pick a lot. I think people have been waiting for Daniel Bryan to win a Royal Rumble ever since Roman won that one Rumble, and then
It kind of has to happen. He said this is his
like
last like full run. Like give him the Rumble.
I 100% agree with you. That would be a great pick. There were like a few guys that I was deciding between, and Daniel Bryan is definitely one. Obviously, there are rumors that he's not going to be in the Royal Rumble match because he's the next step for Roman Reigns. But if they wanted to just extend the Kevin Owens feud, they could easily do that. I don't think their mind is made up in the slightest yet. I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, I don't want this Kevin Owens feud to be like a one-off. I feel like this is gonna be really good.
Yeah, the rumors are right now that it's going to be DB and Roman at the Rumble. So we'll see, but I still don't think it's a bad pick. I still think he can lose and win. He's one of those guys that can lose a match earlier in the night and win the Royal Rumble. And there's not a lot of guys. There's not like a lot of guys on that list, but like he could lose the championship match and then win the Royal Rumble later that night.
I actually thought of an interesting scenario that would never happen in a million years, but what if Drew lost the belt over the next month, won the Rumble, and challenged Roman?
Would you believe that I actually yesterday night it was about 3 a.m. and I was flipping through random wrestling YouTube, and I actually saw that exact scenario that they have a number of different things that they want to do with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Goldberg, and The Rock are all on the table. And I got to say, 4 of those 5 possibilities, I'm loving.
All right, so I'm not crazy. I'm not losing my mind. But I just feel like that's not over. Like they had their match Survivor Series. It was amazing. It ended a little fishy with it was getting involved. The ref got knocked down. Like they got to have the real match. And
would love it. I would love it.
That should be the main event.
I'd love to see that for sure, and definitely not Goldberg in case I haven't made that clear. Okay, but let's move on from there because we're gonna be, like I said, we're gonna be talking about the Rumble every single week. So let's move on from there and let's get into War Games. And that first women's match was amazing. It was amazing. Io Shirai, that great entrance she made with the trash can over her head, just jumping into the ring, that was excellent. Did they get the finish right?
It's not fair for me to say. I don't watch NXT enough to be like I really would have went a different direction. I was really surprised just because of how stacked the team was of Rhea Ripley and Ember Moon and Io Shirai and Shotzi Black. Like, those are 3 of the 4 like big names. So I was a little surprised, but I mean, maybe it does make sense for like progressing storylines and stuff. I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they did get it right here. I thought that Raquel Gonzalez is she's like a new breed of like women's wrestler in WWE. Like she's like built the way like Drew McIntyre is built in like the men's. I'm talking about like physically, like stature wise, where we see this every once in a while with like a guy like a Big Cass comes to mind. Before Big Cass screwed up and you know did some dumb things, he was going to be pushed to be like one of the next like big things. He had that rare size, but he didn't look like the Big Show. Yeah. You know, he was big, but he was athletic. She is that in girl form. She is Drew McIntyre in female form, and I think Vince tends to like those type of people. She could be a big deal on not only NXT, which I think she's gonna. She got that pin. I think she's going to start being a big deal. Yeah. I actually think she'll eventually be the one to dethrone Io Shirai. But
it looks like they're positioning her that way.
Yeah, I think that she could be a very big deal on the main roster as well, and I think that's one that Vince like will love to see. The women that have come up from NXT have transitioned a lot better than the men.
Yeah.
When you think about just, I mean, who's on top right now? They're all NXT. right? Is anyone not NXT that's on top right now?
There are also so many fewer of them, though. To be fair,
No, 100%. But I'm just saying, like, when you tell me who the top wrestlers in,
yeah, it's
I don't know if not
the four
did Nia Jax
girls.
ended NXT run.
Who did?
Nia Jax.
Yeah, Nia was in NXT.
Yeah. So yeah,
The
it's
four girl, everyone. Yep.
the four horsewomen: Nia, Alexa,
Asuka.
Shayna Baszler, who'd you say?
Asuka.
Asuka, obviously.
They all came
Uh,
to NXT.
yeah. So I mean, she could be in that category.
Sure.
For me anyway. That's how I see her. Now, a few of these other matches, I mean, the Johnny Gargano match I thought was excellent. A nice little swerve. Leon Ruff is a diamond in the rough, I think, that I have down there. Now, you had a problem with Leon Ruff. Do you want to share? Do you want to share that with everybody?
I just think it's not a real problem, but he looks like Leo Rush. He's the same size of Leo Rush. He moves like Leo Rush, and he's, I don't know. It's way too similar.
Leon sounds like Leo. Ruff sounds like
It's
Rush.
way too similar to me. I was like, at first I thought it was like a rib to Leo Rush, like they're like shitting on him, but like I don't think that's the case. I don't really know what it is.
No, that man got that North American title for a few weeks. You know. So.
I have no idea what it is, but it's way too similar to Leo Rush.
How do you feel about Damian Priest?
He's cool. I like him.
I think another guy that could come up and possibly make some noise.
Yeah.
He's of the Elias and the Sheamus, like, weird, like, is he a face?
I don't know if you want him in that class of people, but yeah.
All right. Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes in the strap match. This was an interesting match.
Dexter Lumis is he's very polarizing. He's very interesting. I enjoy him. I'm curious to see what the plan is there. He's like an older guy. He's like 36. I wonder if they're just going to keep him in NXT or what.
I'm wondering. Okay, so usually you don't do like psychopathic guys who look like they're going to murder you as baby faces, but he is pulling it off right now. But he doesn't. From what I've seen, he doesn't really speak all that much, and it's just a weird, like that's usually like a heel thing, like just stare intently into the camera and make me fear for my life.
Yeah.
But it's working. So who am I to question it? You know? And Cameron Grimes actually has played a great, like, cowardly heel in all of this. So hats off to him. Big top hats. That's what he likes to wear. So, big top hats off to him. The last one before we get into the main War Games match, which we were talking about, Timothy Thatcher versus Tommaso Ciampa. This is just a run-of-the-mill Tommaso Ciampa match, right? Like,
very physical, very hard hitting. It was fun. It was fun to watch. I think there was real blood. Like one of their noses got busted or something. Like it was real. They were punching each other really hard. You're used to this with him, like you said, typical match. Like he hits hard, and like there's a different feel when he's in a match. I feel like it's like more intense.
Big match feel. He's definitely I would say like it's him and Cole and Gargano and Balor are in a kind of like an atmosphere of their own. So anytime that you are in a match with Ciampa one-on-one, it elevates you. And I think it did for Thatcher. I mean, he showed out. He had a good match. He didn't win the match, but he had a great match.
Yeah.
So hats off to him. Well, normal size hats. Okay. And then the last one, let's just start with Pat McAfee, because I have just been so impressed by Pat McAfee. I think, especially in a match like this that requires the endurance and, that it does. He was an athlete. He was a punter, okay? I'm not taking anything away from NFL punters, but they are out there for roughly 10 snaps throughout the whole game, If you're on a team like the Jets, you might be out there for a little bit more, but roughly they're not out there for a lot. So endurance isn't the main thing. But, I mean, my God, the guy just went the whole entire time.
Yeah, no, he's really impressive. I think ever since he had the match with Cole, we've all been like really pleasantly surprised with him. We weren't really sure what we're going to get. He obviously speaks well. He has his own show and everything. So we knew that was going to be part of the deal. But no, his in-ring ability has really been something special. And I'm curious if he's like sticking around, if he's going to be like a full-time guy. Like, I don't know like what his plan is, but he's definitely welcomed now, like for sure.
Yeah. Another person that I think shined in that match, Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne obviously was the strongest member of Adam Cole's team, the guy that's been around the longest, the most known.
Most credible, yep.
Yeah. And they booked him that way because he went head-to-head with Adam Cole a lot of the time that Cole and him were both in the match. So impressive showing from Pete Dunne, who, I mean, there's nothing we have to say about Pete Dunne that hasn't already been said. He's awesome.
Yep.
Fish, O'Reilly, Strong, great job playing their roles. We touched on Cole. So really the only members that we really haven't are it's Oni Larkin and Danny Burch. What'd you think?
They're fine. I don't really care. They're fine.
They are the current NXT Tag Team Champions. We'll see how long that goes on for. I wonder if there's a match coming up with two members of the UE, whoever they decide to be the tag team at that time. It looks like O'Reilly right now is kind of the other solo guy, because they usually have two in the tag team. I think it was, for a long time, it was O'Reilly and Fish with the tag team, and Strong was the solo. We actually last year during Survivor Series, we saw Strong win that triple threat match, which in very impressive fashion. Yep. So, but I think they're pushing O'Reilly as a solo act right now. So it'll be Fish and Strong maybe for the tag team titles. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, that's NXT War Games. I'd say it was super entertaining, and the two War Games matches were excellent overall. But now we'll get into our highly anticipated Fastballs Slammy Awards. Maybe we'll call them the Ballies. I don't know. Maybe we won't do that, actually. It sounds kind of bad. But we have some good ones, and then we have some not so good ones. So we'll start with the not so good ones first.
Oh, we're starting bad. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna start bad, and then we're gonna end good, because we don't want to. And when we say bad, we're gonna use the word disappointing, because I don't like to use the word bad, because I think a lot of it is a lot of different factors: who you're working with, how you were booked. But let's just start with the most disappointing NXT call up. Who would you say the most disappointing NXT call up? Who are you giving your Slammy Award for the most disappointing NXT call up?
This was tough for me to even think about, because I don't think we had that many call-ups this year. It came down for me for either Dijakovic or Mia Yim, the two members of Retribution that we got. I'm not sure which one. It's probably Dijakovic, right? Like, he's probably the one with the higher ceiling, but like Mia Yim's really talented too, and they need credible girls really badly. So I'll say Dijakovic, but Retribution as a whole has just been an absolute disaster.
So for my award for most disappointing NXT call up, I have all of Retribution.
Okay.
That is what it says. So we are on the same page. Me and you are on the same page.
Who else has even called up besides Retribution?
It's literally Retribution, Keith Lee, Bianca Belair,
like Matt Riddle.
And Bianca Belair could have been it up until like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true.
She got called up in April. She cut that great promo. She's like, "Yeah, I go here now." She like saved the Street Profits, and then like we didn't see from her for months. But she kind of redeemed herself, and we'll talk about that in a few.
So Retribution it is.
What'd you say?
Retribution it is.
Retribution wins the day for most disappointing NXT call-up. And I think that's the last time I have them on this list, mercifully.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just go with overall most disappointing superstar. Who do you got? Could be a male, could be a female. Doesn't matter.
All right, this is tough for me. It's really... I mentioned Kevin Owens earlier in the show. Just because like he's not disappointing. Like, he does his job so well. I'm just upset he's not held at like a higher standard from the company. I'm just upset he's not one of the champions, or always like he does like the mid-card stuff really well with the KO show, and he elevates people really well. But I'm not going to pick him, but he's always in my mind when I think about this stuff, or like, why isn't he champion? I think Seth is a really good candidate, but I'm not going to say Seth either. I'm talking out my thoughts. Because I loved the beginning of Seth this year. After he lost to Kevin Owens at Mania, he was like a mess. Remember, he was all like disheveled and stuff. And then like he had Buddy Murphy, like right when he turned after at the Aleister Black stuff, he got Buddy Murphy to join him. That was super compelling in the beginning. Then he got wasted with Mysterio's the last 6 months. But in closing, I'm going to say Lacey Evans. I think Lacey Evans is easily a top 3 or 4 female superstar they have today. Like, I stand by that. And they don't really do anything with her ever. And now she's like a weird, like, good cop, bad cop tag team with Lacey Evans, and no one's going to care about it. It's going to break up in a month. No one's going to remember it even happened. And she just deserves so much better. She should beat Asuka at the Royal Rumble. She should be the champion. And I don't know why they don't see that.
All right. So I actually was contemplating all the people you were, except for Kevin Owens. I went with Seth Rollins, because I just think, and again, this is not Seth Rollins' fault. Like I'm
That's
not.
the thing. It's no fault of it. Yeah.
It's not Lacey Evans' fault. It wasn't Kevin Owens' fault. This is not Seth Rollins' fault. But when you have a guy like Seth Rollins and you had a gimmick that looked like it was going to be very strong at the start of the year, um, up into the point where in the Royal Rumble, he like came in with his posse and they were starting to like eliminate people, and it looked like really cool. Like it looked like it was gonna be a good thing. And then the wheels just kind of came off, and they came off hard. He put on a great WrestleMania match with Kevin Owens, but otherwise, I was like looking for Seth Rollins highlights like throughout the year, and it was literally the WrestleMania match with Kevin Owens and nothing else. And obviously, bad booking has hurt Rollins, I think, more than anybody else. Besides,
Yeah.
I mean, Lacey Evans just wasn't used. Rollins was just booked so poorly.
That's fair.
That's the difference between the two of them.
I just thought
But
Seth had a good couple of months, like right after Mania, like where it was. I was intrigued when he did. Obviously, AOP got hurt again. It kind of put a damper on that whole thing. Also,
again, not his fault.
it,
Yeah.
it was tough.
Yeah,
Remember, he had
no.
that thing with Drew. The thing he did with Drew was really good.
Yes, the one match with Drew McIntyre. That's right. I completely forgot about that until you said that. But yeah, that's what I went with. But we can move on here. And you know what? This is actually a great segue into our next topic, which is worst storyline. I think we both agree on this. We're not going to talk about it anymore because we talk about it every week. It's the worst storyline. We talk about it every week, and it's the Mysterio family versus Rollins and Murphy and whoever else Rollins had on his side that week. What's his name? Austin Theory.
Yep.
All terrible. It was
It's
awful.
like it's the worst storyline in recent memory, just because there have been awful segments, but they're usually like a 1 or 2 week thing. This went on for 6 months with a different variation of people, and just even the eventual blow off just wasn't good. Of like Murphy winning and like earning his way into the Mysterio family, like to
And
do
now
all.
I won't hear anything of it. They're heels. They literally 3-on-1 attacked Baron Corbin like 2 weeks ago. Like they're heels now.
It's just to do all of this and to have it end the way it ended. It's just like it just shows you they had no plan in place. They didn't know when to call it. They didn't know what they were doing, and they just kept going every week. And then Seth had to go off for Becky. So like, all right, now it's over now. Like, who knows how long it would have went if Seth didn't have to go off TV.
Also, I'd like to note Seth won every single pay-per-view match. It was not back and forth. And then at the end, they just gave everybody the wins over Seth Rollins. Mysterio won the match, and then Murphy won the match, and then that was it.
But that's the way it should have been. Seth is the guy. He's fighting guys below him.
The thing is, it should have just been over months ago,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
That's the whole thing. Like Seth should have won 3 times or twice, and then it should have been over. All right. Most disappointing outcome of a rivalry. I'm gonna take this one first. I don't know if you're gonna agree with me on this one or if you're gonna even remember this, but this to me was Goldberg squashing the Fiend was terrible.
Was that this year?
That was this year, yes, because Goldberg defended his Universal Championship against Braun Strowman at WrestleMania.
Okay, that was this year. That feels like forever ago.
WrestleMania. You take the title off of a red hot Fiend and you give it to Goldberg, who doesn't even get the match with Roman Reigns in. That was, without question, to me, the worst booking decision of the year. And I'm sure there's going to be other ones where it's like you can question it, but remember, that's one of the 2 main titles, one of your hottest acts, and you took them both away.
You remember us sitting there just like, they're not going to do it, right? Like you keep playing it over in your head, like they're not going to do it. Like Fiend's going to win. They're not going to actually do this. And then spear, jackhammer. He drops Fiend on his head because he can't do a jackhammer at age 60. So, but how good has Bray done and like the creative team to get him back to where he is?
Yeah, no, that actually again, we're giving more hats off to the creative team. They definitely did a good job. Bray is 100% back, and if he's done right, he should beat Randy Orton at TLC. Excuse me.
No, that's a good one for sure, though. I forgot that was this year. It was so long ago. For me, it's Sasha and Bayley. They were like the reason I watched SmackDown for a good portion of this year. Like they were just so fun and so compelling and so interesting. You always knew it was going to end. You just didn't know when and how. And Bayley beat her up on like a random episode of SmackDown that I wasn't even watching that day. Like that should have been like a pay-per-view moment. That should have been like a bigger thing when Bayley eventually snapped on her. And then she like took her out with a chair and like broke her neck, whatever. Sasha came out like 2 weeks later, the next week, and the pacing was just so wrong with this. And there should have been such a bigger impact of the breakup, the eventual feud ending, and it just kind of like blew over. Sasha just won twice. She won on the pay-per-view, and then she won a SmackDown match, and now it's over. Like, it's just for this storyline, it needed a WrestleMania finish. It needed like something bigger.
I agree 100% with what you're saying. I will say this with a caveat. I'm not sure we're completely done with that storyline. It might have been a chapter that's kind of closed up, but I think we might revisit that a little bit later.
I hope.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It could be, could not be. I don't really know. And if it is ending, then I agree with you. It was 100% disappointing. I would like to say, however, the rivalry between the two of them was excellent when they were kind of being, what's the term I'm looking for? When you're like nice, but like you're not really nice to each other.
Frenemies.
Frenemies, sure. Yeah. There's like a term for it. I'm losing my train of thought. Anyway, we'll move on because I'm dumb. Let's go to the best stable, and I think we're gonna have the same answer for this one. There weren't really a lot of stables. There was like the weird Rollins stable, which I know is not gonna win this award. Go ahead, you go first on this one.
It's got to be the Hurt Business probably. When MVP is done since coming back has been like really, really special. How he's Bobby Lashley's always been a big deal, but he definitely took him up a notch. Like, he looks like a killer. He looks like determined. He looks like the real deal now, and I'd like to see him get the U.S. title off of him soon, just because, like, I don't know, he's had it forever. I don't know, like, when he's ever going to drop that. Maybe it's the Riddle eventually, but just in general, though, the Hurt Business and the credibility they've established. I think Zelina Vega and Andrade and Angel Garza is also a good candidate, but obviously with Zelina Vega now gone, Andrade's off TV. I don't know if Angel Garza's on TV now. It's obviously the Hurt Business.
Yeah, I went with the Hurt Business too. To your point, just to reiterate what you're saying, Lashley was completely lost in the shuffle, doing some really weird things with Lana and Rusev, now Moro on
Oh my
AEW.
gosh.
So knowledgeable as a
I forgot
wrestler.
about that.
Yeah. And MVP came in, saved his career, brought Shelton Benjamin back to relevancy, brought Cedric Alexander back to relevancy. And, oh, by the way, MVP is doing better work than he's ever done, which MVP was excellent before. In his mid-card role as United States champion, being that heel, he was great at that. And he's doing better now. So, yeah, this is the Hurt Business. It doesn't really it feels like a no-brainer. I think some years that this category will be more highly contested and we could debate, but not this year. not this year. Okay, now these, I wanted to avoid recency bias, but I just could not. These next two, these awards that we're giving out. This one goes to best SmackDown moment, and I will start. It's last week. It was Kevin Owens for me.
Okay.
It was Kevin Owens beating the crap out of Jey Uso and looking into the camera and telling Roman Reigns, "I am not scared of you," because like you mentioned before, Kevin Owens had kind of a disappointing year. But this is what we know we can get from Kevin Owens, and that was so good, and it meant me, and I wanted more, and I'm so excited for SmackDown this Friday because I want to see where this feud goes next. SmackDown was great Friday. SmackDown will be great this Friday, and every second this feud goes on, SmackDown will continue to be great. And I think, again, we have more waiting in the wings. We have Daniel Bryan coming down the pipeline. Big E is a guy who is rumored to be in contention for the Royal Rumble. That was one of the names I forgot. We were talking about the Royal Rumble. It starts with Kevin Owens and the blueprint on how you're going to have to step up to Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, as the head of the table.
No, that's a really good one for sure. That's the thing with Kevin Owens is he's so real. Like, he's so convincing. You see what he does and you believe it. That's why he's so good. That's why he should be treated better. But anyway, mine is when the Fiend challenged Cena. When Cena came back and he cut the promo, that was amazing. He was saying like WrestleMania might have like gone past him. He doesn't really have anything to do this year, like whatever. But like everyone kind of knew like what's going on here. He goes in at the end of the ramp, and then the lights go out like a little bit for like the Fiend thing, and the camera pans, and the Fiend is like perfectly positioned behind Cena, and then Cena looks at him, gives him like the hat tip. It was really cool. It was really interesting. That was my favorite SmackDown moment.
That was excellent too. That's goosebumps, and we love anything that involves John Cena. Next award, best Raw moment of the year, and I'll let you have the stage first on this one.
I took Becky with the mom thing. I thought it was really nice that they did it. They were in a tough spot. I wish the Money in the Bank situation was done a little differently, but I thought it was really nice. It felt really genuine. Like Asuka was really happy and surprised. Becky was crying. Like, it felt real. Like I like when things feel real and genuine. So I went with that.
Okay, I like that. That's a good pick. For me, I went all the way back to the beginning of the year, and I went when Orton RKO'd Beth Phoenix. Now on the surface, the individual moment had like pulled like a lot of weight. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, he just did that. Like Randy's done this like to a bunch of men and women before,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it just felt like there was so much weight in that moment. And not only was it in that moment for that feud, but it actually catapulted Randy back into his sadistic viper, and he had a phenomenal year. I think when you look from January to December, we're still
yeah.
talking about Randy Orton, high key feuds, great matches. I think not only did it do something in the moment, but it did something for the rest of the year for Randy Orton. I think that started his psycho voices in his head, Randy Orton, the one that we love to see when he's a heel. So that's the moment I went with on Raw.
Okay.
All right. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting because these were kind of, well, the heel turns are never hard, right? So let's
No,
just do, who had the best heel turn of the year?
it's got to be Roman.
It's
Roman.
Roman.
It's
It's
got to be.
but there were some good ones other than Roman, but Roman's just was so powerful.
Yeah.
Again, trying to avoid recency bias because it did just happen kind of. I mean, he's actually been the tribal chief for a few months now, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
The initial like shock value of him saying it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler, then like the camera showing Paul, it was like, oh my gosh, we're doing this. Like it was different. It was cool. It's definitely Roman.
Yeah, Roman was really good, and you'll never see it coming. And I to WWE's credit, they told us that we would never see it coming, and I think they were right. I predicted Roman Reigns on our pre-shows every single time, so I can't really give myself credit for predicting it the one time right when I was wrong 12 times before. So I'm not going to give myself credit. I didn't see it coming either because I just said Roman could be coming, like. But let's go to the best face turn of the year.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I texted you about this, or I couldn't think of anyone. The only one I thought of was Drew, and like Drew's done it great this whole year, but he wasn't really like a heel. He was a heel at one point when he was with Dolph, like the Swedish psychopath, whatever the hell they were calling him, but
Scottish.
Scottish, sure. He was I don't know. He was like a tweener though. He wasn't like a hard heel. Like I don't know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the way that this changed his booking made him like a complete badass. So I went with Drew. I couldn't think of anyone else. I'm interested to see who you're gonna say because I couldn't think of anyone.
All right. So I was actually deciding between three different uh, face turns.
I don't believe.
One, Drew McIntyre. Two, Sasha Banks. And three, the Undisputed Era. I know that we're kind of doing WWE stuff, but I made the exception here because I think it's important for their character arcs. After Adam Cole lost the match to Finn Balor, he then went backstage and shook his hand, which is not something we had seen from an Adam Cole character. He just capped off a great year, not a calendar year, but the year prior to when he lost his NXT championship. That whole year that he was reigning as NXT champion, and to see that face turn, and then the UE just kind of followed suit. Now they're the biggest baby faces on the show, arguably. So I thought that was huge. And again, it's going to establish character for him for more months to come and to see if he actually does get called up or if he does stay in NXT, it'll be part of his character then. I just thought it was nice to see somebody that we actually wanted to root for, like Adam Cole, get that push. And it's the same thing with Drew McIntyre, somebody that we actually want to root for, get that. I have to say for Drew McIntyre, I'll save it because I think it's going to come up again. All right. We keep chugging forward. Let's go to Rookie of the Year. We've got a male award. We've got a female award. Let's do ladies first. There's one answer here, right?
It's only Bianca, right?
It's only Bianca. I think it was
Who else
literally
is there?
Bianca and me. right? It's Bianca and Mia Yim, and I don't think Mia Yim has won a match yet. So this is Bianca Belair. She's fantastic. I won't hear anything else. That's about it. Again, some years this award would be highly contested. Like we go back to the time when Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Charlotte all got called up in the same year. We could debate for hours about that, right? But not this year. It's Bianca Belair. All right, and rookie of the year for the males.
It's Matt Riddle for me. I've been like so ridiculously impressed with Matt Riddle, where I didn't think I was going to like him as much as I do. Like I am like so interested in what he does every week. I think he's hilarious. Like he's so good in the ring. I like the no shoes. I think it's funny. He's kind of like the full package for me. Like I feel like the sky's the limit. They should just push him to the moon.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I went Keith Lee because he just rode some really nice momentum from NXT, from being NXT champion for like a week and then coming up. I guess I just wanted to give him that rub to say that he was an NXT champion before bringing him up, but they love that guy. And he's been impressive. I like his methodical pace on the microphone. It's a little bit different. And I just think that he's a super athlete. And again, like you said about Riddle, big things to come for Keith Lee.
Can I tell you something about Keith Lee?
Are you going to tell me that he hasn't ever won a match or ever lost a match?
That's probably true, but I don't see it. Everyone says he's crazy. He's going to be like the next big thing. People are picking him in the Rumble. I don't see it. I'm not like, maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before plenty of times, but like, I don't see him as the champion. I don't see him as like a main player. I don't see it.
All right. I mean, like, listen, I don't know. His story is definitely not written yet. It looks to me like they obviously hold him in high regard right now, but we will see. Again, NXT male call-ups have not had the best booking, so that does make me a little nervous.
And he's on Raw. Not good.
And he's on Raw, but he's a larger man, and Vince seems to like that quality. So I feel good about him at least sticking around, you know?
All right.
So, yeah. All right. Let's go to the tag team of the year, male and female. Again, let's start with the ladies first. I will go first on this one. I went Sasha Banks and Bayley.
I think they were the only one also. The only ones who can go.
I mean, we did have Nia and Shayna have put on an impressive showing. No. He goes no. All right.
So Sasha Iconics broke up. Everyone's broken up. There's no tag teams. It's
and Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott.
No.
Okay, he says no.
It was only Sasha and Bayley. They were the only like credible. I mean, we're Kairi Sane and Asuka maybe, but like
the Kabuki Warriors, yeah.
Kairi Sane's gone. Like she left the company. It's like I don't know.
She's gone. Yep. Yeah. Okay. I guess there's not really a lot to say. Sasha and Bayley, you guys were excellent. Becky too. I'm sorry. What is it? Bayley Dose Straps? Is that what they called it for a little while? That was funny. That was entertaining. All right, let's just go to the male. I feel again like we're gonna have the same answer here.
It was a tough year.
For tag teams, it was a really tough year.
Tough year for the company, but a tough year for tag teams.
I actually looked on this year and I said, okay, they've had a better year than they have in a while. Like some of the stuff that's happened. But you're right. The highs were highs and the lows were low. So yeah, but best tag team for the males.
Street Profits.
It's the Street Profits. Yeah, there's not really a question. The New Day were pretty much out of commission or not wrestling as a tag team for most of the year.
Who else is there? Who else even is there?
The Usos, again, out of commission for half of the year.
The Viking Warrior Raiders.
The Viking Raiders were good for a little while. Now one of them is hurt, and the other one is in the 24/7 championship picture. So you know how that is going to work out.
Andrade and Angel Garza.
Andrade and Angel Garza were entertaining for a little while. Didn't win anything. I don't think they won a match together. That's
like
Nakamura and Cesaro, I think, were tag team champions for a minute.
Who cares?
We got Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, who are on again, off again.
So bad. Well, Robert Roode was stuck in Canada for the first like 6 months of the pandemic. So
yeah.
Terrible. It's so bad.
I love how AJ got traded for Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and the draft came around, and then AJ was back on Raw, and Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler were back on SmackDown. It's like those are perfect matches for one another. They can't be on the same show because they are so equal in value. All right, so lots of bad tag teams and only really one or two good tag teams. I'm very excited for the Usos and the Street Profits to be on the same show. I really want that to happen. I think that would be really great.
I'm excited for Ray and Dominic.
All right, listen, I can't knock you. I like mine a little bit better. The Usos, a very established tag team, but I guess the father-son duo of Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio could be entertaining. Now, is Aaliyah and Murphy in their corner, cheering them on?
No.
In your vision, or you just don't think it's gonna happen?
No, I don't think so. I think I'll just feel two of them.
Okay.
Does Aaliyah go out there for Murphy's matches like the last few weeks?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Has Aaliyah been with Murphy the last few weeks? Like, is she still with him? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
She's still on the show. I think they sent the mom home. I think they were like, okay, like your work here is done. But all three of the other Mysterios are still kicking on SmackDown.
Oh boy.
Okay, continuing on. We only have a few left here. Let's go with best return, male or female. Not both. You don't need a male and a female. I'm saying male or female. So who you got?
Best return. You want to not say Roman because I feel like all of my answers have been either Roman or Drew. But
and it's not gonna end.
It's not gonna end, but it's probably Roman, right?
I like the Roman Reigns answer, but I think that Edge was just so electric.
Okay, that's fair.
That was just the pop. Michael Cole did an amazing job with the call. Goosebumps, I think like a wrestling announcer could really make or break a moment like that. And Cole, 11 years on the shelf, he's yelling. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe that's Edge. Hats off to Michael Cole. Lots of hats coming off. I keep saying it, but it's true. And Edge, the pop, the crowd, obviously, that crowd, I forget where they were. I think it was Arizona. Does that sound right? They were in Arizona?
No, Chase Field, maybe? I don't know.
They popped huge. So thank you for that moment, Arizona, because the crowd plays into it. Michael Cole plays into it. Edge himself looked like he was about to come to tears of joy walking down the ramp. You see that, especially knowing the story, the back. He was forced to retire. Him getting to set foot in the ring again. I thought that was just the ultimate moment. But Roman Reigns was really cool too, in different ways, obviously. Okay. We will move on to match of the year.
Are you going to go with the greatest match ever?
I actually do have Edge and Orton as match of the year. I thought it was so cool to see them pull out all the finishers at the end.
Yeah, that was really good.
We were on our feet. Like, I remember we were watching that. We were very engaged. We were like on our feet, like very engaged in that match. There are different tones in wrestling matches where we've seen, I think, a few Roman Reigns matches could have been on here. Roman and Drew, Roman and Jay, the first one, the first Roman and Jay match could have been on here.
Yeah.
The Roman and Jay match, though, that's a different pace, What do you enjoy? You enjoy heavy storytelling? Do you enjoy heavy action? I thought Edge and Orton had everything. I thought it told the story. It played on nostalgia, which WWE loves to do and probably does better than any company in the world. And it was good wrestling. Like, Randy's still the best. Edge can obviously still go. It was the best match of the year. I'll give them that. I don't know if it was the greatest wrestling match of all time, but I thought, to me, from start to finish, best match of the year. And we didn't know who was going to win either, right? Like, we thought it was going to be Randy, and it wound up being Randy. But we said, if it's Edge and that's the end of the series, like, that's it. Like, so I thought that was good too.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was between that and Roman versus Drew at Survivor Series. I think it's fair to say Randy and Edge, because the big thing was I was a little underwhelmed at WrestleMania. I didn't think it was that great. I thought it was long. I thought it was a little boring. But they kind of just turned it up to 11 in this match, and it was great. And credit to WWE, like you said, like they did really good with having like the lighting was different. They had the referee was wearing like the long sleeve shirt. Like it was a different feel. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. They pulled it out. big time. They delivered on. If they didn't, they could have gotten, the company, the two wrestlers could have gotten made fun of out of the building, But
A lot of
to
pressure.
their credit, they delivered. So, well, yeah, definitely. Okay, rivalry of the year, and this to me was actually one of the hardest things to pick because I wrote down a few of the rivalries that I was deciding between: Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, Sasha Banks and Bayley, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, Edge and Orton, and Becky and Asuka at the beginning of the year. All made my list of things where I thought this could win. This could legitimately win this category. Like these were all excellent feuds. I went with rivalry of the year. I'm sorry. I went with Roman and Jay. I was reading the category. I went with Roman and Jey Uso as my rivalry of the year.
I did too, so that's totally boring.
Oh,
It's
really? You did?
yeah. I mean, it's like the only storyline that I've been like really compelled with all year. To be honest with you, like the other like Drew and Randy was fine the first time, then it went on for like 4 months. I didn't really care anymore, and I don't remember Becky versus Asuka. That was that was a lifetime ago for me, and that's kind of it. There's no other rivalry that would even like stands out. The Roman Jay one was relatively quickly until Jay like joined him, but now there's the feud's still ongoing, but Jay is part of his Roman's like faction, his team now. So it's kind of over, but kind of not. I think that was definitely the best, most compelling, most interesting feud that they've had in probably years.
Yeah, it was really well done. I thought Randy and Drew really put on a good match. And then John Cena and Bray Wyatt was another one that I was considering, but it just didn't even culminate in like a real match. So I just felt like, that's probably not fair. But yeah, I think overall, that was probably the best feud of the year, rivalry of the year. All right, let's finish it off. We have two more awards to give out, and that is Superstar of the Year, male and female. And I know you're going to give your female award to Lana. So I'll go first with the female. And I took Asuka.
They almost went a whole show without making a Lana table or just Lana.
I had to get it in there.
All right.
We could have did rivalry of the WWE for their Slammy Awards. They have Lana versus the announce table as one of the rivalries of the year. So, or their version of rivalry of the year. I don't know what it's called, but on the Fastball Sports Network WWE podcast, we call it rivalry of the year.
You're going
Yeah,
Asuka?
excellent year, Money in the Bag, 2 women's championship runs, entertaining stuff. That's really all I could say. There were only 2 other options, and I'm going to let you go because I'm sure you picked one of the other 2 options, but go ahead.
So the right answer is Bayley. Sorry. The only time Asuka was interesting was when she was fighting Bayley and Sasha. So it's not Asuka. Sorry for just totally putting you down. She's done absolutely nothing with that title for the last, I don't know, handful of months.
Not her fault.
Not her fault, but you can't give her an accolade that she's like dancing with Lana backstage. She's not doing anything.
Listen, she steps up to the bullies on the roster every single week. That's kind of entertaining.
She does nothing. She's held that belt and has done absolutely nothing with it since the Bayley stuff, where Bayley carried SmackDown for over a year. Like she is killing it. She's amazing. Now she's doing a thing with Bianca Belair. She's gonna put her over now. I hope, like you said, her thing with Sasha's not over. Maybe Bayley wins the Rumble. I don't know, but Bayley's just been like so beyond impressive. Like Bayley is definitely female superstar of the year.
All right. And then the last one, male superstar of the year. We might have a similar answer here as well. I'll let you go first.
You're gonna say McIntyre, so I'll let you have that. I'll say Randy, just because I think Randy will always matter. Like he'll always be important. You can always throw him in a title match and have like instant credibility or a feud. But he really like revived his career this year. He really like got back that edge, like that chip on his shoulder where it's like, oh wow, like that sadistic, crazy guy is back. Like he's gonna come up to my house and RKO me and like in front of my mom and like pump my head off. Like it's something about him, like the evilness, the passion, like he's back. And it's really hard at age like 37 to reinvent yourself again and bring back the legend killer stuff. And like, he's done such a phenomenal job. And I think Randy deserves Superstar of the Year.
Yeah, I think that, again, this was like a category where there were only three possible answers. Roman Reigns, but he didn't even wrestle half the year. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. I went with Drew personally because he proved me wrong, and like I just had to. Like, this is me giving him his due. I did not think he could be a babyface. Like, I really didn't think a man that size should be bullying the Lucha House Party backstage. You know,
Yeah.
he should be, just Claymore kicking the guys doing the catering. Right. That's what I expect from a guy Drew McIntyre size. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong 100%. He has been one of the most compelling parts of WWE TV. If it wasn't for him, Raw would not be watchable. Some weeks, not all weeks.
Yeah,
Raw would not be watchable. And obviously, our two candidates, not surprising, they put on one of the better, series of matches over the year. I would have loved to see Edge healthy this year. Maybe he, finishes out the year with a SummerSlam match, and he really goes all the way and can maybe grab this title. But yeah, I mean, for me, that was awesome. Like that was an awesome year for Drew McIntyre, and I was pleasantly surprised the whole entire time. But I don't blame you for Randy Orton at all.
and they've successfully built a star with Drew, which they have such a hard time doing. Like they did it this year. They booked him so well, and that's the key now. It's like the tweener baby face. Like the hard baby face doesn't work anymore. Like the fans just like turn on you. But like when you're the tweener baby face and you do like badass things, but you're a face, like it works. Like people get excited.
You can't be. I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't think that typical baby face is dead. They just can't look like Drew McIntyre looks.
Okay.
Like if Daniel Bryan can play that baby face, you know what I mean? Like Daniel Bryan doesn't have to be tweener baby face.
That's true. You're right.
A guy Ricochet doesn't have to be this tweener baby face. When you are small and people can relate to that, like, oh, that guy doesn't look like he should be, and that's when the big bully comes and beats you up. Like then you can play that role. But I think you're right. Guys that look like Roman, guys that look like Drew McIntyre, they cannot. No one believes they're losing in any fight. If you look at Roman Reigns, like he took his shirt off, you look at Roman Reigns, there's no way that man is losing in a fight. Like anywhere. Like bring the biggest, baddest man you can find. Roman Reigns isn't losing in a fight. Same thing with Drew McIntyre. Look at him. I mean, just look at the massive humanity there that Drew McIntyre is. He's huge. And I'm talking about tall, muscle. Like he's got everything. And he's got that long hair that makes you think that he's going to kill you. You're right. They can't play typical baby faces. And both of them have done a good job reinventing their characters. But yeah, I do have one more question. So we have 4 categories here that hopefully we'll be doing again next year, and that's Rookie of the Year, right? For the NXT calls up basically, and the male and female Superstar of the Year. Now we obviously don't know what feuds are going to look like, who's going to hold championships, but if you had to sort of guess who was going to win these awards next year, and we could start with the Rookie of the Year, male and female. We'll go ladies first. Who do you foresee maybe taking that title next year? Who's the NXT call up you're looking forward to? You hope she comes up and really grabs the brass ring, really breaks the glass ceiling, so to speak. Not that these people are going to be held down, just like who does it?
Yeah, I'll take Rhea Ripley. I think Rhea Ripley has already established herself. She had the match with Charlotte at WrestleMania. Like she's a big deal. She's already like proven that she's already a star, and I think she's another person in the Adam Cole class where it's like, what more can she really do down there? It's time to bring her up. And I think, especially with the Raw current scene, where I think we'll eventually get Charlotte like soon, but right now, there is no one to challenge Asuka. There's literally nobody. And now might be the time to pull the trigger on like a Rhea Ripley and bring her up.
Mm-hmm. For me, there was a lot of women that I was impressed with in that War Games match. And I think that those 8 are all good candidates to maybe come up, despite maybe Dakota Kai and Shotzi Blackheart, who feel like they have a little bit more to do on the NXT roster. But my opinion, the one that I want to see the most anyway, and that I hope succeeds, is Io Shirai, because just some phenomenal stuff in that match. It's also, again, I talk about it all the time, but storytelling in matches, and she did a wonderful job of actually telling that story in the match, how she couldn't get into the cage, and then she finally got into the cage with the garbage can, and instead of being frustrated, she was smiling as she threw it on and jumped in. I love that stuff. She's really talented, and I hope it's going to be. I hope that we see her in the WWE at some point, maybe after WrestleMania. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping. As for the male, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have the same answer.
Yeah,
baby. But yeah, we've been talking about Adam Cole coming up for months, so we don't really have to talk about it. Just he's the best.
Johnny's a dark horse too.
Johnny Gargano, I agree. I think Damian Priest could be another guy on the rise. I'm trying to think who else. Obviously, every member of Undisputed is a possibility for this award. Who knows? Maybe they split them up. Maybe Roger Strong has that, that breakout, rookie year.
Dexter Loomis should stay in NXT forever because he'll be totally forgotten about.
That character's not gonna work.
The fact that Aleister Black didn't even kind of work, like they just stay there forever.
Yep, you're right. All right, and then we'll go to Superstar of the Year. This is so hard to predict. There's so many good talents in the WWE, but just give me your female. Who's Superstar of the Year? Who's female Superstar of the Year? Just throw a name at me and tell me.
It's so safe to say like Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte. I'll say Bianca. Let's hope that they actually like put the rocket on her and let her beat Sasha at Mania.
Wrap it to her back.
Like just make it work. Like she's so good and impressive. Just don't drop the ball with her. Like make it work.
I want to pick Bianca Belair, but I will be different for this, and I'm gonna say Shayna Baszler.
I hate that.
Shayna Baszler. But it's possible that she could have a really good year. That she's seen in a higher light. Like
she's on the small list of women that actually are like matter on the show.
Right. So I will say that she's had a really strange start to her career here, but it's definitely somebody that we could see take like a step up.
Remember when she was a vampire for a week and bit Becky's back?
Yes, I do. That was strange. That was very strange. And then you're right, because I mean, my answer right now, if we were just picking between the horsewoman, would be Charlotte. Like I'd say, yeah, Charlotte's probably gonna come back at the Royal Rumble and win some titles and be relevant the whole entire year.
She took off like 5 months. She has to come back and win like 3 titles in the first month.
Yeah, she's ruining pace. Anyway, continuing. Last one, the male superstar of the year, and once again, there are just so many options. We have Kevin Owens looking hot, Daniel Bryan with all these rumors. Big E could be a dark horse. Who you got? Who's your male superstar of the year next year? Let's try and avoid Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns, like we avoided the 4 horsewomen.
I know it's not going to happen. I know. I'm just so high on Matt Riddle. I want them to do something with him, like legitimately, so badly. I know it's not going to happen. Like in like 2 months, we'll never hear his name again. He'll be in the background making like jokes and like backstage segments. But yeah, I'm going to say Matt Riddle. I think he literally has everything. As long as his legal issues aren't legitimate and those are behind him, I think he could be the next face of the company. I think he has everything.
I want to say AJ Styles so badly because AJ Styles is just the competitor that we know he is. I'm gonna take Daniel Bryan. I think, like you said, he's getting close to the end of his rope. He's got Brie at home with 2 kids now. He's gonna want to, be a dad as they're starting to grow a little bit older. I'm gonna take DB. I think that talent-wise, he's just as good as anybody on the roster. The fans love him, like love Daniel Bryan more than I don't think people that don't watch wrestling would never understand Daniel Bryan. But like the yes chants are in other sports. They do it after the Islanders scored the goal. They do it at San Francisco Giant games. Like the yes chants are immortal. Daniel Bryan is immortal in wrestling. I think this is finally his year. He's going to stay healthy and he's going to really rock it. Maybe there'll be a Universal Championship or WWE Championship run in that mix as well. But either way, all eyes are going to be on Daniel Bryan this year. But listen, I think there's a lot of people that we should be looking out for. I'm like optimistic. I think they've done SmackDown is so good right now.
SmackDown's really good.
SmackDown is so, and they have like the right players in place there to like feud. Like if you think about it, like Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan, like Big E. There's probably like a name or two that I'm missing here.
Dude,
Sami Zayn.
I firmly believe it's the 2 hours. Like, if Raw was
You,
2 hours, I think Raw would be great too. It's too much, and you
my
can't keep
fear,
intrigue.
my fear for Raw is if they cut it to 2 hours, I think a lot of wrestlers are gonna fall into monotony. Because SmackDown's roster is smaller, right? Like SmackDown's roster is smaller. Um, I don't know. I just fear for like a few of those. Like Retribution is barely hanging on by a thread.
They should be gone.
Ricochet is hanging on by a thread right now. I like Ricochet a lot. Like I hope he like succeeds, but like I just don't know if he can. I don't know if the odds have been too stacked against him. But
you're also naming people who are like whatever. Like I know Ricochet has all the talent in the world, but like they don't care about him. So why should you?
I mean, like I guess that's true. But that pretty much brings us to the end of our Slammies. I think that was a good first Slammies. We had a lot of different awards. Like I said, we had some negatives, but again, we're not saying bad. We're just saying disappointing. Okay. So, and then the good was the good. I think in conclusion, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns are excellent, and Randy Orton is excellent. Right? That's what we got out of this. Oh, and Sasha Banks and Bayley and Asuka are excellent. Like everyone, like the 6 people that we talked about the most on the show are probably them, and yeah.
It's such a shame that there's like no competitors for like the Street Profits or any of these people. Like some of these were just like
it really is a shame because like the Profits, the Uso, and the New Day are such like a foundation for a tag team, but then they just surround it with like mud.
Yep.
Like there's nothing around it. Like, and every time they get like a legitimate tag team from NXT,
break them up.
It falls apart. It is tough. We got to hope that the Raw Women's Division looks a little bit more competitive. I don't know if that means. I think that probably means taking the women's tag team titles off of Shayna and Nia. That'll definitely help open things up a little bit and give Asuka an actual challenger. Because if it's not those two, she doesn't have competition on that brand.
It's Lacey, and then like if Naomi ever shows up, that's it.
Naomi. Oh yeah, where is Naomi?
I have no idea. It's been like 6 months. I have no idea.
Where is she? Like, what is she doing? Is she like?
It's not COVID. I don't think.
Which one is she married to? Jimmy or Jay? Do we know?
I don't know.
I feel like we've asked this question before.
It's probably Jimmy.
I believe it's Jimmy. Anyway, yeah, I don't. Where is Naomi? Where is she? That's a really good question. 6 months? Has it been 6 months? It feels like it's been.
I just threw that number out, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is going to do it for us here. Hey, if you know where Naomi is, comment it down below in the comment section. Let us know because we have no clue. Also, if you like so passionately disagree with one of our awards or passionately agree with one of our awards, please feel free. I'm sure if anyone actually did comment, they'd have their own Raw and SmackDown moments and be like, "Hey, idiots, how did you forget about this?" And we'd look at it and be like, "Oh yeah, you're."
I mean, there's so many moments. There's so many moments in the course of a year.
And that's why I was trying not to get the recency bias, but I was just like, what stuck out in my mind? And for SmackDown, it was Kevin Owens, and for Raw, it was like, okay, he RKO'd Beth Phoenix. I remember that I remember watching that with our friend Quincy, who's been on the podcast, and he's a big early 2000s wrestling fan, so he loved that. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us here. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week with our TLC predictions. I believe that is not the coming Sunday, but the Sunday after that. So that'll be next week's show. And then it'll be the holiday season. And you know what that means. Right after the holidays, we're at the beginning of January, and it's the Royal Rumble. And we get very excited for the Royal Rumble around here. All right. Have a good one, guys.